be careful. There are no end credits. Wow, I don't really know what to say. Hey everyone, I know it's been a while since you guys have seen me here. I know I have been very busy with all the college things I've had to do. I've had to, I have been like recording videos. I just haven't had time to upload them or edit them, but I am working on a few videos. I attended the Houston Comic Palooza, which I talk about that in a video. I'm currently editing it. I went to my school that I am going to be studying at, and so I will be, just moving and like just all that type of college things that I have to do. I've just been really busy with all of that, and I haven't even been in town for a bit, but I finally got back in town. I'm finally back here in the studio being able to talk to all of you guys, and I'm so sorry about this break. I didn't really want to take it, but it was something that I had to do. Rarely got a second for myself, and I wouldn't even be able to upload even if I tried. So with all that out of the way, I hope all of you are having an amazing day. I just watched the new Spiderman Across the Spider-Verse movie, and I just gotta say that was an amazing ride. I know that I've said this about many of the movies that have come out this year, like Guardians of the Galaxy and just most of the movies that came out. I've said that they're really good, and I try to dive into it, and I will be diving into it in this particular, review, but I will be giving out spoilers, and this is an incredibly good movie that I recommend to every one of you. A lot of people would say that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is one of the best comic book movies of all time, and so just going off of that, I'm saying that this movie might be equal or even better to that movie. I know it's a really tough comparison, and I know that it might be really early to say. I'm going to go rewatch it as soon as I can and as soon as possible so I can really have it even more fresh in my brain. But I just got to say, wow, this movie really surprised me. It was a fun ride from beginning up until the middle, and then the middle just became extreme. Like, the change was so drastic. When you get to a certain point where he finds out what is supposed to happen and where his story is gonna go, it becomes such a drastic change. And the Spot, at first, you see him as a funny, goofy villain. They call him a Tuesday villain or something like that. Like, they don't really give him the importance that he's desiring and the importance that he really wants to create. And so whenever you get to the point where he's just a big threat, it is just crazy to see it. And the visuals, I really like this comic book style. I know that a lot of people are like, oh no, that's an animated movie. Why would I waste my time watching an animated movie? And it's because it was just so good. And I just think that this movie might not get the credit that it deserves, just because it is a comic book oriented movie, and it does have some scenes where you can see other iterations of Peter Parker. For example, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield are in there. I don't remember if I saw Tom Holland. I don't really think that he was there just because of the Marvel stuff that they'd have to go with. But oh my god. And again, spoilers. But it gets so crazy when you get to the part where they're explaining what's going to happen and how the captain of his universe has to die for them to, go on as Spider-Man and all this. And his dad recently got promoted, Miles' dad recently got promoted to captain. And so there's just so much that's going on in that. And it has a really long exposition. You don't really start the movie up until a certain point where the movie's already getting pretty long and pretty drawn out. But you see the story of Gwen leaving her house and how insanely drenching that is. How you feel just poor Gwen and all of that, because she lost her, first she lost her best friend, and her dad thought that she murdered him. And then now her dad found out that Spider-Gwen is actually his daughter, and just him having to arrest her, that just came as a huge moment for me. And a huge emotional moment that came at the beginning of the movie. Then you have Miguel O'Hara, which is Spider-Man 2099 for people that don't really know him. A menacing villain just all throughout the movie. Like, he's not really a villain. He's a superhero. He's like an anti-hero. But he wants to save the universe. He believes in letting one person die he believes that the needs of the many over the needs of the few, because at the end of the day it's a collective like society, and he knows what it is when you like mess with time itself, and he did it once, and so he doesn't want that to happen, and he doesn't want that to break other timelines or break the entire timeline as a whole. And so whenever you go into that whole explanation where you just really get to connect a bit with the character, and you kind of understand Miguel O'Hara's like, you understand his motivations, but then you also want Miles's like dad and Miles to get their future that you want, and so you're really conflicted between these two ideologies. And so it's just a really complicated topic to grasp, and just the amount of betrayal that Miles feels throughout this whole movie. Peter B. Parker, you have Gwen, you have everyone that he thought he trusted is suddenly telling him that his dad has to die for him to move on as a Spider-Man. And he can't accept that. And who would accept that? Like, if you got told, hey, your dad is going to die, but you can't do anything about it, you'd want to do something about it because it is just so important to you. I just don't understand how this movie got me so much that I'm really still in shock, because after this whole exposition of the movie, you get to a point where now Miles is stuck in the wrong universe. He barely just found out that he's stuck in the wrong universe where there is no Spider-Man. So the universe is terrible. And you find out that he's a mistake. Like, obviously, it's tough to explain it. But usually the spider goes and bites like the Peter Parker, or it bites the person that it's supposed to. But the spider that bit him was from a different universe. And so that different universe doesn't have their Spider-Man. And so it altered his DNA. And so he went to that alternate universe of Spider-Man where there was no Spider-Man. And so Miles Morales becomes the Prowler. His uncle is still alive. And so you just have this whole big twist at the end of the movie. And you have Gwen coming back together with her dad and deciding that she really wants to pursue a relationship with her dad. Well, not really. She wants to fix their relationship. She found out that Captain's died, and he ended up quitting becoming captain because he wants to be a part of his daughter's life, and he can't do that under the oath that he swore because he's supposed to be a cop, but he wants to be a dad before a cop. And so you get this super emotional moment and this super important moment where he decides, I don't want to be a cop anymore because I want to be your dad and I really want to be there for you. And then that's where Gwen decides, hey, I need to go save Miles and I need to go save his dad, because that's just what heroes do, and that's what Spider-Man does. They do both things. And so that you get that conflict of interest from every other character, that they love Miles Morales, but they have to understand that the fate of the fate of the universe, of the whole multiverse, is at stake. And so you have that turn from everyone, that they understand Miles' point of view. And so it all comes down to the ending, where I wasn't expecting this at all. I knew that it was going to be a trilogy, but then all of a sudden, all of these tensions are being built up, and you're just excited for a big climactic show off. And then the movie just ends. It is just an insane. I am just so in shock. It was just an insane moment where you have just everything coming up to an insanely, just intense moment. And then it all just ends right there. And it says to be continued. There are no end credits. So be careful. There are no end credits. So, you don't have to stay in the movie. It just says that Miles Morales will return. But it doesn't even say when. It is just an insanely interesting moment where you just savor everything that you are seeing. And it is just so good, and I was so there for it. And I just gotta say, it was such a good movie. I'd argue that it might be better than Guardians of the Galaxy this year. A lot of people might say no, you're crazy, and I don't even know where like those accusations would begin, because I wasn't a fan of some of the of like you have some of the Lego things, you have some of the live action things that go into this animated thing that I didn't really like. There's a cameo from the Venom movie or the Venom movies. And so it was just a really interesting thing, which I didn't really like that part, but the rest of the movie really made up for it. And the rest of Miles' story really made up for it. And I just thought that this movie was an amazing movie. I give it a solid 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 is a solid score for it. I put it right next to its first movie. Like the first movie was how Miles came to be, and just the message that you see from these movies is just so good. One of them is telling them, be yourself, learn to accept who you are, and be brave. Like just do what you want to do because that's who you are. And then the second movie is telling you that nobody can tell you what your story is supposed to be. You can make your own story, and you can really be yourself. It really just builds off of the second movie extremely well. And you know, you go into it with that idea that it's going to be a really good movie. It's going to be a really good movie. And it surpasses all of your expectations. I just got to say, this movie is incredible. All of you should go watch it. I don't really have too much to say about it, except for what I just said. The moments in this movie are so good. Miguel O'Hara, Oscar Isaac plays him. He's so good. You have Miles Morales, also insanely good. The track of the movie is really good, and you really feel the tension. You really feel that character building, and you really feel the tension in Miles' story. I really like this movie, and I really hope that we get a big delivery in the next movie. I hope that the movie comes out soon, because I'm just on the edge of my seat waiting to see what happens. I know all of you will enjoy this movie, so hey, go give it a try. And if you don't, I'll be like, you might have already watched, you probably already watched this because hey, you're hearing this. So just make sure that you go watch the movie. It's an amazing movie, and just make sure that you have a lot of fun with it. It's a really good movie, and it's a really familiar movie. Like I saw a lot of kids watching the movie, and they like, I didn't have a bad theater experience at all. So it was just really nice to see people of all ages coming together to see this movie with an amazing message. And I just think that we should all just appreciate this movie and the beauty that this movie shows. But thank you everyone for watching this video. I promise I will be back uploading a lot of shorts and a lot more of the short content that you guys are really liking. And I'm gonna try to upload more of this type of content. It's just I've been very busy, and I'm very sorry about that. But thank you everyone that's watching this video. Thank you everyone for making it to the end. I'm really excited to see what this summer of movies does. We have Oppenheimer, we have Barbie, we have The Flash in a week or two. I'm really excited to see what happens with the cinema industry this summer. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you all in the next one. I hope it's very soon. I shouldn't be very busy. I'm going to be going on a trip in a bit, but I will have these videos that I will be putting aside. Well, like not putting aside, but I will be trying to schedule their upload so that you don't miss anything from my content. If you've made it all the way to the end, then you should definitely hit that subscribe button. I don't understand why you wouldn't. It's free, and I hope you've liked the content. You've sticked around this long. Go watch my other videos. I know that you're gonna love them. Go watch some of my shorts. Show me some love there. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.